Would you say then, I mean, if that was how they felt, if they felt that those in political leadership at that time had betrayed them, I mean, you were in political leadership at that time, did you think, you know, that you betrayed your people?
I didn't think so. But that's the perception, that's the feeling they had, that there were no infrastructure projects going on in the Southeast. But a large segment of Southeasterners thought differently. And let me explain. They thought differently that Jonathan restored their self-esteem. President Jonathan restored their self-esteem by the symbolic appointment of Ihe Jirika, an Igbo man, as the Chief of Army Staff. They felt that a certain glass ceiling had been broken for the Igbo people. By allowing Enugu Airport to become an international airport and allowing the first Ethiopian airline plane to land in Enugu, which is something that people were emotional about. In fact, part of the reason why Catalonia province want to exit from Spain is the feeling that the Spanish government did not build a rail line between the Catalonia airport and to the other parts of Spain, believing that it was a deliberate policy to constrain the people of Catalonia. So I thought that President Jonathan's two major things of appointment of an Igbo Chief of Army Staff, something like as simple and symbolic, that's the point I'm making about politics. Sometimes it's not about the reality of the issue. And I use this to tell to the other parts of the country, you know, the empathy that we need to show, and which is what I want Nigerians to show to the northeast part of the country. These children in the IDP camps today are going to be the future of the problem we're going to have in Nigeria. We need to just pause a minute and just have some empathy and say, what are these people really saying? There must be something. It may not be the reality, but the fact remains that we need a new form of engagement, a new form of communication.
Be that as it may, I mean, we've seen, I mean, from when the president got back, we listened to that speech, and he talked about how he knows the Nigerians, you know, their grievances, but there are legal ways to address these grievances. And he talked about the National Council of State. He also talked about the National Assembly. And, you know, we've seen how things have evolved since that time. Eventually, the military declaring Operation Python Dance, and then we saw the tensions that escalated in the southeastern part of the country. Some confrontations happened. And then shortly after, we heard the military declaring IPOB a militant terrorist organization, and then we heard the governors of the southeast following suit, prescribing the activities of the group. What is your reading of all that has happened since the president's return?
I thought is I don't know if I can put that as a causative factor, the president returned. But I think that...
Causative factor, why?
I don't know if I can link it, that it is the president's return.
No, I mean, since the president's return and his speech, because he talked about how he read, I mean, he was also following events on social media, and a lot of people, according to him, from what he can see, we've crossed the red line. That was what he said in his speech.
Yes, I heard that.
And from that time, there have been talks about, you know, what is the red line, for instance, and, you know, how do we bring forth grievances, and whether or not we actually have capable hands, you know, capable institutions to handle these grievances? Yes,
part of the reason is that I think that let me start from the reactions from the different institutions. The military reaction and the governor's reactions, for me, were knee-jerk reactions. And the president's red line must exist in his own world, because I haven't heard or seen of any red lines in Nigeria. And
the red line is in the Constitution. Some people will tell you that's where it is, where Section 2 talks about the unity and indivisibility of the country. And he spoke there and said the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. That was the Constitution he swore to uphold.
Well, the unity of any union cannot be non-negotiable. The Constitution itself is a product of negotiation. You cannot have a union that is non-negotiable. It's not possible.
Well, perhaps
the unity of Nigeria is constantly going to evolve. It's constantly going to be worked on. The Nigerian identity is not a superior identity to other subnational identities in Nigeria.
Now, some people will say that perhaps the terms of the unity can be negotiated.
Yes.
But until it is done, if the president has sworn to uphold the unity of this country,
yes,
and that's the oath that he's taken alongside all the governors and the senators and you know, political office holders of this country, can he then come and say the unity of the country is negotiable?
No, he doesn't need to say it, but the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says, we the people. So we the people can also decide to renegotiate the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria through our elected representatives. Now, where I agree with most people is that I believe very firmly that the political process, that democracy is a legitimate tool, and it offers us an opportunity to engage. I do not agree that we will use only this instrumentality of street agitation to achieve our ends. I strongly believe, and that's what the United Progressive Party stands for, the ability for us to aggregate our views and go through the political process. So, but that in itself does not remove the fact that the idea of a union, the idea of unity, for instance, I asked, when you say that Nigeria is a united country, why then do I have a state of origin? Why do I have to get any access to every federal resources through my state of origin? The idea of unity means that two has come to become one. So the idea of state of origin does not arise. You must now create a unity, an identity that is superior to the subnational identities. And that is why we had things like the National Youth Service, things like the federal government colleges, in an effort to promote that national identity. So I believe very firmly that what we need to do in Nigeria is to continue the process of nation building. The issue of in 200 years after Americans' independence is still an issue.
I'm going to talk to you. I mean, we'll definitely continue conversation on, what we should be doing in terms of building a nation. You talk about the ongoing process of nation building. What should it constitute? In just a moment, please stay with us.